Mr. Nasser, some time back, Ugandans were demonstrating against corruption. Do you think government has done enough to fight corruption in the country?
You see, you cannot fight anything without knowing what causes it. In my opinion, corruption in Uganda is caused by two things. One, need, and the other one is greed. Therefore, corruption can be categorized as need-driven corruption and greed-driven corruption. But I think need-driven corruption gives rise to greed-driven corruption. Now, when we are addressing need-driven corruption, just don't get people and arrest them and put them in Luzira. Because people are stealing to satisfy the basic needs. And what are the basic needs? Education for their children. If you have another DC who is paying 2 million shillings a term for his children, and yet his salary is 2 million, what do you expect him to do? That calls for sorting education. Why are people opting for government schools, for private schools that are expensive, yet there are government schools that might be cheaper? The reason is government has neglected the what? The government schools. Two, the other one is shelter. How easy is it for a doctor, a police officer, a military officer to get a house in Uganda? Let me give you an example. For a civil servant who earns 2 million shillings a month net, it will take him 12 years. It may take him 12 years to build a house of 240 million. That is if he does not touch that money at all. He can be in position to buy a plot of 40 million and build a house of 200 million after 12 years. But you see, why would you allow a civil servant who you are sure that this civil servant is going to work for me for over 30 or 25 years to go into that hassle of buying a plot of land and building a house? Why doesn't the government have a system where such a civil servant, you are sure this person is going to work for you for 30 years, has an assured house of 240 million, for example, that he can pay over a period of 30 years? You occupy that house, and you say you are earning 2 million a month, but every month we are going to be chopping 500,000 per month. Then at the end of the 30 years, this house is yours. That is what happened in the developed world. The current Chancellor of Germany, when he was campaigning to take over from Angela Merkel, he promised people that he's going to increase on the number of housing units. It is not right for government to allow people to build the houses the way we are building them. Many of the government officers, and including some of us who are in business, we find ourselves doing shoddy things so that we can fulfill the basic needs of man, shelter. You understand? So even when we were advocating, and I think you are aware that we were advocating for the reduction of the size of parliament, I believe you are aware. The issue was, for instance, to save that money. When you save that money and instead invest it in building well-planned houses, where a police officer, a civil servant in Arua, can know that I already have a home. The moment I got a government job, they gave me a house in Arua, I'm going to pay it for the next 20 years. I have someone who is coming from Kamari has Ginger, and these houses are supposed to be regional. Everywhere they should be there. That is civil servant does not get into the pressure of fighting to get money, build a house, do this and that. You understand? That is how they fight corruption. You fight corruption by addressing people's needs. I have a friend of mine who is a police officer somewhere. He earns around 400,000. But if you look at the schools where his children are going, you ask, where is he getting the money? So you realize that if we do not put systems in place, if we do not address the basic needs of man, that someone can go to hospital and get medicine and his children are okay, you are not fighting corruption. Because someone will steal for as long as his child is sick at home and there is no medicine. And for the child to get treatment, he has to go to a private hospital which is going to charge $1 million. So corruption has to be fought institutionally by making sure that we address the basic needs of man. What are the basic needs of man? To start with, education, health, and shelter. And that is what the developed world has done. This move of government putting a state house and corruption unit which is doing police work, you find them writing police statements. Monitoring unit is counterproductive. That money should instead be invested in things that eradicate the causes of corruption. Thank you.